All right, so I'm gonna make an argument about the way what you're saying when you answer questions and how you answer it. And I suspect people will agree and disagree or say it depends. So, when somebody's asking you a question and it's a hard question, or they're asking you a question that requires expertise or it's soft or whatever, there are really a couple different answers you can give. And I would argue that if the answer is positive in the direction they or you want it to go, then you give a yes. And if you give a long explanation, then the answer is implicitly no. And I'll describe why. So, in my mind, customers or other parties are smart about this. They understand when you are trying to put enough words together to make something fit. So I was thinking about this decision tree. Can you do it? I picked a super easy question. And obviously, if it's a complicated question, you can break it down into smaller questions where you can give different answers to different parts. And so what I think is you want to get the question to be a measurable part, sort of like doing software decomposition or breaking down big problem, building a bridge into building the little subsections of it. So at the top level, the answers you can give are yes, no, you can give an explanation, or you can ask more questions. In a lot of ways, the three yes, no, and in many times the explanation will mean the end of the conversation, and you won't learn more about what the other person's really thinking, or you may have given the wrong answer and not realize it, or they may have decided you're not qualified to answer. So, and the other thing is when you give a fairly long explanation, you don't know what a person heard because they haven't restated their question or the details of what they need to a point where you can give a succinct answer, right? So there's an opportunity there for a mismatch between the question and the answer. So I would argue an explanation either means no, or it means that you gave an answer that gave a lot of fuzzy room so that nobody really knows whether they agree with each other. So I'm going to give you examples of this. Oh, and so what I would do is you can iterate asking more questions. You can ask as many questions as you want as long as you don't look stupid about it or like you're deliberately digging beyond what's required for the question. So I'm going to give you an example. Will this product meet my needs? Yes, that's an easy one. No, let's get out of here. Sometimes that's the right answer because it turns out the solution, even like I'm an architect, sometimes the solution I offer isn't, there's like no way to do what they want with the way they want to do it. A long explanation, to my mind, that says a lot of times one of these three things. I'm not sure if this will meet your needs, so I'll keep talking till we find a use case that works. No, this will not meet your needs, but I don't want to admit it because the people sitting next to me will be very angry that you will not like my answer. A long explanation can also say you asked the wrong question and I'm letting you know it without giving you an opportunity to rephrase the question. So the fourth alternative is to ask more questions. And those can say, I'm not sure if this meets your needs. Let me understand more so I can help, right? That's okay. I didn't understand what you meant. Can you give me more detail? That's the same thing as I don't understand the true requirements here. I either didn't understand what you meant or I don't know what problem we're really trying to solve. If I ask more questions, it also can be a polite way of saying, I think you asked the wrong question. I understand your problem or what you're trying to do. Let me help you recognize what you need to ask me so that we can advance on this. Really, it comes down to a lot of times technical people in particular, and some people are just totally soft on answers and they never can be trusted, right? Technical people try to give a very precise, correct answer, but that they don't always understand exactly the question. And you'll see this a lot. A person will ask a question and two people in the room will give completely different answers because in their mind, the questions are being answered, being asked is different, right? So one might give you yes, one might give a no, one might give a long explanation. A lot of times a long explanation and you're like, oh man, they didn't understand the question. So it is always better, or usually better, to ask more questions than to give an explanation. Until you get to the point where the explanation, like somebody's teasing out the details. But really, initially, a lot of times it's like, can we do this or can we not do this? And an explanation means maybe not, I don't know, or maybe I don't want to tell you, right? So think about it. When somebody asks you a question, what answer should you give, or should you ask more questions?